frightening crash near the Canada-US border that could have been a lot worse. Good evening and thank you for joining us. It was a dramatic scene at the Pigeon River border this morning.
The driver of a transport truck lost control, flipped over and crashed into several parked vehicles. It happened at around 10 a.m. right outside the border crossing station on the Canadian side. OPP say fortunately no one was hurt. Police say it appears the transport first took out a utility pole. It then broke into two sections, with the front portion ending up on its side. 4 vehicles that were parked next to the Canada Border Services building were damaged, and it took several tow trucks to remove all the wreckage. It all happened on the CBSA property, and traffic heading to the U.S. side of the border was not impacted. OPP have charged the transport driver, a 54-year-old man from Winnipeg, with careless driving.
The City of Thunder Bay sought public input on the long-delayed Northwest Arterial project last night.
Local residents came to the 55 Plus Centre to learn more, discuss their concerns, and get feedback on this proposed new roadway that would help improve traffic flow in the northwest part of the city. Riley Cohen reports.
The Northwest Arterial roadway would be nearly 4 kilometers in length with 4 vehicle lanes, sidewalks, and active transportation paths. The route would also include a bridge crossing the McIntyre River and would connect with Dawson Road and Golf Links Road. The last environmental assessment for the project was done back in the 1990s. Due to the considerable amount of time that has passed, a review of the current project environment is needed, according to City Engineering Director Matthew Miedema.
It's really just updating the old environmental study. This has been on the city's radar for some time. As we know, it's a protected corridor. So we're updating it. We're also trying to stay hand in hand with MTO. MTO is working on their project. They've updated their environmental study, so we want to update our environmental study. Be ready for design for this project. So if MTO proceeds on the 4-laning of Thunder Bay Expressway and interchange project, our project will be ready as well.
Although the Northwest Arterial would help the city's traffic needs in the future, some citizens are concerned about the proposed new roadway.
We moved to the area just recently, actually, and the reason that we moved there was because it had a semi-rural feel, not a lot of traffic through the area, a lot of nature for our children to run in, and now they're talking about putting this big road that, if we look at it, is going to take a lot of traffic from the area and put it right beside us.
This is terrible. They're taking traffic from 102, which was purchased, all that property out 102 was purchased for knowing that there's a highway there. Well, they're going to take all that, or a lot of that traffic, and put it through a total residential area. There's nothing but dog walkers, bikers, joggers that use that area, and now they're going to wreck that entire area.
The project has left residents questioning why now, rather than a few decades ago.
Recognizing that the city's growing, my concern has been why the city, in its official plan 50 years ago, didn't put the road in then, instead of building around it, and now we're kind of shoehorning a road through to deal with traffic issues in residential neighborhoods.
Miedema notes that the new route will have positive impacts on the city's traffic and congestion, and they welcome input from anyone with concerns. Riley Cohen, TBT News.
First Nation leaders are calling on the federal government to quit the stalling tactics and start funding Ontario Indigenous police forces at the same level as the OPP and other police services. A news conference was held in Ottawa today, 1 month before a Canadian Human Rights Tribunal hearing on the funding issue. Lawyer Julian Faulkner filed the human rights complaint last year after several Indigenous police services failed to reach a satisfactory funding agreement with Ottawa. He says the government has delayed the hearing several times and recently tried to have it adjourned completely. Police leaders and First Nation chiefs say the chronic underfunding of NAPS, Treaty 3, and Anishinaabe police is leading to unsafe working conditions for their officers and a crisis situation in many First Nation communities.
With the experience of walking through the front doors of Treaty 3 Police Service, one could not help but notice the discriminatory conditions that our officers in the communities that they served worked in.
Canada cannot delay this lives are depending on it. Not only the people that we serve, but our officers that are expected to fulfill a role just like any other officer.
I refuse to accept this for my people. We need Canada and Ontario to stop passing responsibility back and forth and take action. Hiding behind jurisdictional arguments only deepens our crisis and delays the help we desperately need.
The Human Rights Tribunal hearing is scheduled to begin on January 6.
Premier Doug Ford has made a promise to address the issue of encampments in some Ontario cities.
It could include support for shelters and a crackdown on public drug use. CTV's Siobhan Morris has more.
The government's preparing legislation for next week to crack down on homeless encampments. The Association of Municipalities of Ontario counted 1,400 of them last year.
We've heard the people of the province of Ontario loud and clear. We've heard from our municipal friends loud and clear. They want the encampments cleared out.
There are promises for more funding for shelter space, tools for police to crack down on illegal drugs in public, penalties for those who continually break the law, and new approaches to treatment and rehab.
We think that the resources that we're providing next week and the enhancements that we're providing next week will allow our partners to remove encampments.
So Doug Ford says he doesn't think he'll have to use the notwithstanding clause to override the charter, but it's a tool he is prepared to reach for if necessary. Earlier this fall, the Premier dared mayors to ask him to.
Let's see if they have the backbone to do it.
A 2023 court decision blocks municipalities from clearing encampments unless there's a shelter space for the homeless to go to.
This is an incredible step forward.
The mayor of Barrie, one of more than a dozen who asked the Premier for these measures.
They have to be used incredibly cautiously. They have to be well organized. And we need to make sure that we're continually investing.
The mayor of Toronto, skeptical.
We don't need to clog up our courts to deal with encampments.
Condemning the contemplation of the notwithstanding clause.
Help us build more supportive housing. Help us create more shelters. Help us bring people indoor. At the end of the day, that is what will work.
For the provincial opposition, the devil's in the details.
I want to see what he's offering up, but if there are not real housing solutions included in that legislation, then we're going to have to keep pushing for that.
There are also accusations more financial help for cities comes too late.
Now we're at a crisis point, and the Premier's solution is to tell people to leave when they have no place to go.
There should have been a strategy years ago, not months ago, with funding attached.
And that was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. The United Way of Thunder Bay has wrapped up its 2024 November campaign with some record-smashing results.
This year doubled not only the number of burgers sold compared to last year, but also how much was raised for local food programs and initiatives. Jessica Clement reports.
After a month of trying burgers from 41 different restaurants around the city, the United Way's 6th annual November campaign has come to an end. Organizers were at Red Line Smokehouse Thursday morning to announce the record-breaking numbers.
Collectively, all 41 restaurants that participated sold 44,695 burgers, which is more than almost double from last year's. And then what was raised for community is almost $132,000.
November chef de mission Erica Mikola was blown away by the amount of community support, noting this year's campaign will have a huge local impact. United Way CEO Albert Brule notes over the past 6 years, the campaign has raised over $275,000. All funds raised will be going to local food programs that provide meals to vulnerable residents.
We have community partners like the RFDA, the Dewdrop Inn that are very much rely on support from community and from the United Way for their programs. But we also have a lot of programs that deliver food as part of their overall programming.
The top November of the year went to Red Lion, who didn't just give customers a delicious burger, but also a show.
Here's our November.
Owner John Murray says they've taken part in the campaign since the beginning, adding that while it takes a lot of work, it's worth it to give back to the community.
It's an amazing thing that we look forward to every year, regardless of our outcome, because it's such an amazing thing for our community. We raise an amazing amount of money that just goes right back into Thunder Bay, so it's something that we look forward to year after year.
Outlaws Burgers and Fries owner Justin Dang has similar sentiments. His restaurant sold the most this year, with over 6,600 burgers going out to happy customers.
It feels amazing to be selling that much in our debut year. We're really excited. Our team wants to thank everybody for supporting and helping get the word out, and we're happy to be able to donate that much money back to the community.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
There's another 50-50 draw going on in the city. The Friends of Thunder Bay Public Library launched the online Friends 50-50 earlier this week, and it's already seeing a lot of support. The Friends Group is a charitable organization which raises money to support public library services in the city. The proceeds from the 50-50 will help make improvements to library spaces, programs, and more. The 4 local branches see more than 5,000 people pass through the doors weekly, and many of its services depend on fundraising. The Friends 50-50 has already brought in more than $16,000, with half of that money going to the library and the other half going to the lucky winning ticket holder.
As you know, libraries are critical in providing the information and resources that we all need to gain knowledge, critical thinking skills, to make our lives better. For us, there are 20,000 visitors that come through the library doors every month, and it's for those visitors that we decided to run this lottery.
I think we're really excited about the Friends 50-50. It has the potential to be a significant game changer for the library, right? We know city finances are strapped. The library is not funded to the way I think all of our residents want it to be. So this is an opportunity for the community to really step up and give back in a unique way. So we're really appreciative to the Friends 50-50 and really excited that if the trends continue, we could see a pot this month of being up to $50,000.
Tickets are offered in different quantities, ranging from $10 up to $75. They can be purchased online at the Friends 50-50 website or in person at any library branch. This month's draw closes on December 30th, with the winning ticket being pulled on New Year's Eve.
There's a big party happening on Frederica Street at this hour as the ever-popular West Fort Winter Wonderland is in full swing. The annual event gives the West Fort neighborhood and shoppers from other parts of the city a chance to get together to celebrate community and share some holiday cheer. Some of the favorite characters on hand include the Grinch, Santa Claus, and Buddy the Elf. Attendees can also warm up by cozy bonfires and take a sleigh ride. Brittany Smith from the Sal restaurant says the event gives West Fort businesses a chance to showcase their festive spirit.
When it comes to Thunder Bay itself, West Fort has always been an icon, I guess, here in Thunder Bay, a staple more here in Thunder Bay, and it's always nice to give back to the community. So anytime people in West Fort can get together and have a good time, it always makes a nice difference. We always have the street fair, so it's nice to have the winter side of the street fair, and it becomes a good hit. We have beautiful weather today, and we can't go wrong.
West Fort Winter Wonderland continues until 8 o'clock tonight. Well, see, this might have been one of the reasons why we got all that snow, because West Fort Winter Wonderland needed that. And Fiona, like you heard there, everyone's saying it's a pretty beautiful night out there right now. It's not too bad.
It's not too bad, and it really is beautiful for this kind of event. You want a little bit of white, so it feels festive, but you don't want so much that you're slogging through a foot of snow. So all in all, I think this was a beautiful day to set the tone for Christmas in Thunder Bay. We started out with a low of -14, which is actually very seasonal for this time of year, although wind chills were closer to about -18 at that time. We warmed up to -6. Unfortunately, with the winds coming from the northwest, it's colder up to the north. It's gusting up to 43 kilometers per hour during the day. So it did feel close to -14, but the good news is the winds were tapering off from yesterday's gusts that just made it painfully cold at times. Now we have had increasing clouds, just a few areas of potential precipitation moving through, but it's very weak and it's just pop-up areas around Thunder Bay. At this time, directly west, we've still got clear skies in Fort Frances. Temperatures sitting around -11, -12 into Dryden, Upsala, Atikokan, and Sioux Lookout, -13 in Red Lake. And the wind chills are in the high minus teens as you head upwards in those temperatures as far as that is concerned. Now we've got a little bit more cloud to the north, periods of snow continuing in Greenstone along the North Shore. They're at -10 from Nipigon to Marathon to Greenstone. Sault Ste. Marie currently sitting at -8 with a few periods of light snow popping off and on today. Now, here in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to see temperatures and wind chills a little bit milder than last night with those gusty winds. We're going to hit a low of -11, wind chills of -16, increasing cloud for this evening. So if you have plans for the next few hours to get out and do stuff, it's actually not going to be a bad night to do that. But then after midnight, we are looking at some periods of snow. It's not going to last very long. It should wrap itself up by mid tomorrow morning. But after that, we do have a couple of series of systems that are going to be coming through, giving us a good chance at more snow, but on a nice gentle keel. We're not going to get hit hard like Southern Ontario did. This is something that I think folks are going to be able to live with.
Okay, like being from Southern Ontario originally is kind of strange to be able to, brag a little bit about the weather being up here to my parents and family, which is nice. But
you brought it with you.
That must have been it. My third winter up here. I think I'm finally, accustomed to that winter weather.
Getting
up
into the
here,
groove.
for sure. Definitely. Thanks so much, Fiona. One thing people aren't as accustomed to is those rising food prices, of course. And a new study has found food prices are rising higher and faster than our targeted rate of inflation. We're going to have that full story after the break.
According to Canada's Food Price Report, the cost of groceries will rise as much as 5% in 2025.